So good evening, everyone. My name is Samrian Das, and I'm the president of Robotics Club AEC. So I welcome everyone present here on our first event of the session 2021 to 22. So this event is based on a webinar on the topic Scopes in Embedded Systems Development. So today with us, we have one of our alumni who is a 2011 to 15 pass out, an ex-Asian. He's an expert in this field, and we will be having a presentation on this topic. So his name is Mr. Juganda Kishore Saikia. He is the lead system application engineer at Analog Devices. So he has been in Analog Devices for the past 3 years. Initially, he was the processor application engineer, then the system applications engineer, and currently the lead system application engineer. So Juganda Da has done his masters in on signal processing from from the Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru, and he has done his BE from Assam Engineering College. So we are very excited to have him on this event, and I want Juganda to present his to start the presentation.
Thanks, Samiran. Thanks for the intro. Can you hear me?
Yes, Dada,
Hello?
carry on.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe I will share the screen and let me know if you can see it. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, just a second. Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. So it feels very nice to be back back to AC again. So yeah. So we can start the session then. So yeah, before we dive into embedded system discussion, I just wanted to mention about a big factor which plays a vital role in deciding our career. So which is exposure. So what happens if we don't get the exposure, we end up wasting time, not knowing what to do next. So that is exactly what happened to me also. It also impacted my career when I was in AC. So in AC, I was in 2011 to 15 batch. So I was from electrical background. So that time I only had an idea about core electrical stuff. I had only options I either I get into a PSU or IT jobs. So I did not have any idea about embedded software or embedded system profiles. Although I like the digital electronics or maybe the microprocessor subjects, but I did not have any idea how to get into this career. So yeah, so that's how I ended up finishing my degree in AC. Then I went as I did not have any idea what to do next. Then I just went for gate coaching, and the primary goal was to crack the exam and again I apply for PSUs again. But somehow I ended up doing masters in ISC. So where I got lot of opportunities, where I got to know different opportunities which are there in outside that we need to grab. So after that, that's how I ended up being in embedded system profile. So yeah, it feels now, which is my career now. So that's how it is. It's good to have exposures. So I would like to appreciate the initiative that Samiran and his team are doing. So to bring in more exposures to AC. So we can bring more alumni which are working in this field, and we can get more inputs from them. So likewise, we can know how and what needs to be prepared to get into these fields. So yeah, let's talk about embedded systems. So when we say embedded systems, so you can see nowadays everyone is coming up with their own devices which are getting smarter day by day. So we cannot imagine a day without devices at our hands. We need smartphones, we need laptops, we need smart appliances like smart TVs, smart home appliances. Even in automotive industries, we have in cars, we need good infotainment systems. Everyone is coming up with good infotainment system. If you see Mercedes, BMW, all these companies are coming up with their very luxurious infotainment systems which can do different jobs. So all these things are possible only because of embedded systems. So when we say embedded systems, basically the main funda is it's a combination of the processor or a controller and memory and communication protocols. So we also call peripherals for communication protocols. Like we can have different peripherals. So based on that, we can differentiate different devices. Like we can have a wired devices, we can have wireless devices. Nowadays we have IoTs. In IoTs we have this option to connect to the cloud, and where we can send the data, and in the cloud it will perform any machine learning stuff or those things which are happening in, if you, for example, this Alexa or Google Home. So they are doing those things. So yeah, because of this like demands, demands for the embedded is increasing exponentially. So we have a lot of job opportunities out there. Just we need to know what needs to be prepared for that. So benefits of working in embedded. So the main benefit is the starting pay. So we all are worried about the salary. So when that is the most important thing. So in embedded system, starting pay is always more than the average. That I can say. In average, as far as I know, at least you will get more than 10 lakhs. And also the job is secured as the demands are always increasing. So every day, the demands are increasing for newer devices, smarter devices. So that's how that we have less we need more people in this field. Also, we'll get the chance to work in register levels. Like for the people who love electronics, we know, we like digital electronics, right? We know what is ones and zeros, and that way, if we are in this field, we'll get to know what is going on in register levels in the terms of ones and zeros. We have a code, we can load into the board hardware, or we can in the hardware we can see what is going on in ones and zeros. So that's how it is very interesting to work for these fields. So you can see these are the different kinds of applications which are present in the market. So you can see from cars and vehicles, motion sensors, then manufacturing equipment, domestic appliances. Like in houses, we have now like smart appliances. We need smart light, we need smart fans, smart AC. All these things are coming. So all these things are possible only because of the work that is going on in the embedded systems. Similarly, in the medical industry also, we need a lot of devices now, so which requires expertise in embedded systems. So as I said, the embedded system is nothing but the combination of the processor, memory, and the communication protocol. And based on the communication protocol, we can differentiate the device. So what kind of device we want to use? Like suppose if it is a wired device, there we can have different communication protocol. That can be a serial data transfer or parallel data transfer. So if I give you an example, so previously we had this USB to Type A, USB Type A, Type C, those cables we had in mobiles to send the data from the mobile to the PC or the vice versa. So that was kind of serial data transfer. Similarly, for video applications, like through HDMI cable, we can send the data from the PC to any monitor or TV. So where the video data is getting transferred. So that is kind of a parallel data transfer, which is fast and which is required for the video. Similarly, we'll have wireless devices where the data is transferred to Wi-Fi or which is nothing but the radio wave. Then similarly in IoTs, we have IoT gateway that connects a local device to the cloud. So that means we can get the data from the outside. We can send the data over internet to the cloud. In the cloud, they will perform machine learning or something else, or any algorithm they will apply on it. And after that, it will again send the output from it to the local machine and we'll get the response. So that is how things are happening in Amazon Alexa or this Google Home devices. Okay, so let me give you a brief about what the different companies are there in embedded systems or what kind of work we do there. So when we say companies that are available for this profile, we can divide it into two categories. One is the semiconductor companies, which is B2B. That means these companies are not targeted toward the end consumers. So these will be like companies which will have their own chips, will design the chips, will manufacture the chips, will provide the chips to the other companies which will actually build the device. Those are called the B2C companies. and those companies will be like will be responsible for the devices, ultimate the end device, which will be used by the customers. So if I give example for the semiconductor companies, we have a lot of companies there in the market. So the top ones are like Texas Instruments, Analog Devices, where I'm working on now. Then Intel we have, then Qualcomm. So Intel has processors which are meant for computers, and Qualcomm has processors which are meant for mobiles, like that. Similarly, Micron. So that is, I think, mostly Micron has different flash devices, which is used for like smaller processors, like which are used for like like infotainment system, automotive applications, etc. So similarly, we have this graphics companies, NVIDIA, AMD, then Microchip also we have, then Maxima Integrated, which is a part of Analog Devices now. So these many companies are there, and a lot of other companies are also there, which we can explore. Similarly, we have these B2C companies who actually makes the device, as I told. So there can be different type of companies here, mobile industries, this Apple, Android phones, etc. Those companies will take the chips from the semiconductor company mostly, and then they will build their device on top of it. Then automotive industries like Tesla, BMW, Mercedes, then Tata, and similarly everyone, like all the like automotive industries, they will need chips from semiconductor companies, and they will, on the top of it, they will have their own setup. Yes, they will have their own SoCs for them. For that, they will have their own application to run it. Like that, things are going on. Similarly, we have sound industries like Harman, Alpine. So they need also processors. So they need processors which are mostly oriented or the targeted towards audio applications. They cannot use the Intel or Qualcomm processors, because that will again cost them high, because they only need for a sound application. They want to process only the sound, not the other stuff that we do in the computers or mobiles. So some processor will be there only for the which are targeted only for like these applications. Similarly, in Amazon, Google, so they have all this coming up with their own like devices. Even Google has recently launched its own chip, so which is very interesting. So which you can imagine like how things are emerging in embedded systems. Then we have other companies which work on home appliances or healthcare sectors. So yeah, you can have different like lot of companies which includes both these categories. So yeah, let's talk about like what kind of work we do in embedded. Uh, Suppose like the basically any work in embedded system starts from the processor design. So that is the first step when we want to design something. When we want to design a device, the first thing we need to come up with a processor or a controller. I'm just mentioning processor because processor can be taken as a superset of microcontroller. So we need to come up with a good processor which can support our future tasks. Suppose I'm giving an example. My Mercedes is planning to come up with a new car which is to be launched after 5 years. So they have some requirement. They want to process their data with some complex algorithms, or they want to control some of the peripherals. So through the processor. So they have some requirement. But suppose in the market we don't have that uh, processor now. So what they will do, they will approach the semiconductor companies. They will say that this and that are the requirements for us. And the processor, then the semiconductor companies which build the processor, they will start designing the processor, which will be used in after 5 years, which will go into the product after 5 years. But the planning should start now. So that's how things are going on in this industry. So when we say like different profiles, different works in embedded systems, so that can be divided into mostly two profiles we have. The names can be different in different companies, but work-wise it will be two category. One is the system design, embedded system design. One is the embedded software. So I'm going to give some briefs on what we do on both these fields. So as an embedded system designer, so what we'll do, suppose we need a processor, we have some requirement from I'm working for suppose I'm working for a embedded semiconductor company which designs processor. So we have the requirement from customer that they need this processor to support this and that features. So we'll start designing the processor accordingly. So as part of the design team, we'll design each and every architecture of with the processor which needs to be supported. Then we'll also test the design in different simulation environment in RTL, FPGA, etc. So we need to have some expertise in those things. So what is requirement to exactly to work on these fields? So definitely good knowledge in electronics that can be both analog and digital. Then similarly, we need to have some hands-on experience on different simulation platform like RTL, FPGA. I think those are available online. Like, how to like learn about those? I think online we can get those information. Similarly, we have one more hot topic in that is VLSI. So yeah, we need to have some experience in these fields. Then similarly, we have this embedded software profile. So there can be different work there. So I am from an embedded software background, so I can say more about this field. So in embedded software, mostly we have this following things to do, which we do. First is the firmware development. So this is mostly a part of the B2C companies, which actually owns the like designs the device and write the firmware or the final application for them. So as part of semiconductor company, we don't much work on the firmware development. So, but the rest of the work you see here, which is very useful as part of the semiconductor companies. So second one is that we do this driver development. So when we say drivers, so this can be functions or APIs that needs to be developed for different peripherals. So when we have a processor, we will have different peripherals. That means different communication protocol that needs to be supported there. For all these communications protocol, we'll need to come up with drivers so that these drivers can be used by the customers, that is the B2C customers. Then they will use these drivers, and on top of it, they will build their application. So I'll give you an example how this driver work is used. Suppose in our PC we have this audio driver. So when it is not updated, we are using different application like Skype, Microsoft Teams, or yeah, those kind of application. If we use, or if the driver is not updated, then what we can encounter, the speaker or the mic may not work properly. Then what we need to do, we update the driver. That means this is that audio driver is meant for those audio communication protocol, which needs to be updated as per the application, because the application is using that. So that's how it is useful, this driver development. And it is one of the most, this is one of the major work as part of embedded software engineer in semiconductor companies. Then similarly, we'll have boot kernel develop, which is one of the most critical work in processor. So every processor, if I say what is boot kernel, so this is one program which is executed when a processor wakes up from power on. So when we power on our mobile, or when we power on our computers or smart TV, it will take some time to boot. So what is going in the background? There is a program which is getting executed so that it is ready to work properly or as expected. So that program that sits on the ROM memory of the processor. That means it can be only programmed once. That's why it is very critical work. So we cannot do a mistake there. So when a processor goes into manufacture, that time only it will be programmed. So in analog devices, I'm part of this work also. So what happens, like we do a mistake there, then it will cost us millions, because we cannot just go for another revision of manufacture. So that's how we need to be very, very careful while developing boot kernel. Similarly, we have validation work. So suppose we are developing the drivers, developing the boot kernel. When the processor actually comes in hardware to us, we need to test our drivers before shipping it to the customer. So that's how we have our own functional testing. Then we have our drivers which we need to test. Then we have to handle different customer issues. as we are dealing with softwares which will be used by customers, then definitely they will come up with some issues. So accordingly, that will first come to us only. We'll need to look at the issues. If it is a software issue, we will have to fix it. Otherwise, if it is a not software issue, it can be a hardware issue also. So in that case, we'll have to again work with the design team for any hardware issue or limitation. So that is what exactly we do in embedded software profiles. Similarly, the requirement for the embedded software. So definitely it is programming. We need some programming skills in C or C++. But we don't need to be a hardcore programmer because this is a simple programming that we need, that we do in the embedded level where we can write into the registers, where we can write ones and zeros and those things we need to do. So yeah, that is what we need. Similarly, we need to have understanding of assembly language also. Even though most of the cases, we write the program in C nowadays, but in the background, what will happen, the assembly language will be converted, sorry, the C language will be converted to the assembly by the compiler. So, which is useful for debugging complex issues. Suppose, what happens in C, we can have suppose I'm giving an example, we can have a for loop, so which is a single line code in C. But in assembly, what it will happen when it can be a multiple lines of code in assembly for the single line for loop in C. So what might happen? The compiler might compile it differently than expected. So in that case, we need to debug through the assembly language. So it's better we can have like we need to know like how to read assembly language for each processor. Definitely the assembly language will be different. Like in AC, I think we have a microprocessor subject in 6M, which is like which uses 6086, I think, microprocessor. For that, what was the assembly language will not be the same for the new processor now. But if we can read one assembly language for one processor, at least we'll get the idea how to read for the other processor also. That good understanding about the processor architecture. So we need to have the quality to know the architecture about the processor. So there can be different components in the processor, from the starting from the core to different peripherals. All these things need to be we need to have some proper understanding about all these things. Then we need good understanding about different communication protocol. So which is the most important part, because for any device, the communication protocol which is used is the most important part. That's why so in the market, we have different protocols out there. So we need to have some proper understanding about those protocols. Then we need to have some good problem solving skills up to bit levels. So this is one of the most important things. So sometimes what might happen, there can be an issue, which is because of the hardware. So there can be any limitation, but the problem will be that if it is a hardware issue, we cannot go and just fix it, because it will require manufacturing the hardware, and which is very costly. So as a software programmer or software developer, embedded software developer, we are required to fix the issue in software level by adding some workarounds. So that's how. So this is a very important skills that we need to have. Okay. Yeah, I will give an example, like how this is used, how can be helpful. So there was an issue that I was working on, I think 2 years back. So there was a serial transfer protocol which I was using. The requirement was that when I was transferring the data, and in between I need to change the clocks from a lower to higher values so that the transfer becomes fast. But as per design, we cannot change the clock when transfer is going on. What will happen then in that case, the data corruption might happen. So what we can do, we are transferring the data, we are stopping it, then we are changing the clock, then we can again resume it back for the transfer. So that was the solution. So when we did that, I saw that still there was some data corruption happening. So, so what I did, I probed those pins through oscilloscope, and I saw that even after stopping the transfer, I could see two extra bits were still coming. Because of that, when those two extra bits are coming, we are changing the clock at that time only, and those corruption are happening. So what we need to do in that case? So what I did, I added a delay. So for those extra two bits, so what I did, after I stopped the transfer, I added a delay. After the delay only, so that the extra bits comes properly. Then after the delay only, I was changing the clocks. So that's how I fixed the issue. But that was a hardware limitation, because after stopping the transfer, data should not come. So, but we cannot, as I said, we cannot just change the hardware. So what I did, we added an extra like fix in the software. So that's how we need to have like proper we need to have some skills to to solve the problems in bit levels. Okay, how to get into embedded systems? There can be different ways to get into embedded systems. The first thing is the PPO through internship. So these days, this companies gives more importance to this. So what we can do, we just make a good CV. We need to have some skills and make a good CV and start applying for the internship. If you can perform well during the internship, they will give you, the chances will be there that they will give you the PPO. And plus point is you will get paid more as an intern than some IT jobs. So it's not bad to do even internship also. Then we can also apply through referrals from current employee. So what we can do, we can try to connect to people who are working in the company and ask for their referrals. We need to tell them that why we are interested in this job, and why do we want to do it. So those things we need to communicate properly to those people, so that they also show interest. Otherwise what will happen, these employees will get a lot of referral uh, requests from people. So we need to we need to convince them, we need to show them that why we are interested. Then we can have different off-campus drive also. So this also happens once in a while. So the company will only invite all the students, all the candidates for all the procedures that for the selection to for the so to their company. But this is not happening much. Like this is only happens once in a while. So the last option will be campus placement. So we can get into a premier college for high degree. So yeah, so that way which will have some pros and cons also. So if we get into a college, and the interview process will be the easiest. So past experience does not matter much, because if you are getting into a good college, then it will be taken it will be taken for granted. Then you can learn anything. So that's how the interview process will be the easiest. But there will be some consequences also. You lose 2-3 years of your life if earning is the ultimate goal, right? So if you want a job, why to wait for another 2 years? Let's try it during BTech only. Yeah, these are some general tips that I wanted to share, which can be useful during interviews. So first of all, as freshers, we are not expected to know the complex stuffs. But to be good with basics. So we need to very good with our basics. We need to be, at least we need to know the things which we can defend. And also the most important part will be you should not let the interviewers to ask anything of their interest. So we should try to bring them into our comfort zone. Otherwise what will happen, it's a ocean, electronics is an ocean, they can ask from anything. The first thing is that we should tell them that what we know and what we don't know. But whatever we don't know, at least we should tell them that we can learn from it. So yeah, this can be, yeah, if we can uh, uh, like good with all these things, then definitely we can have a better career in embedded software or embedded systems. Okay, I wanted to add this point. It's like at this point where we are lagging. So we all know AC is full of merits. We all come here after clearing the entrance exam, but we are lagging behind. But if I like in most of these companies, if I see the employees, majority of the people are from such colleges where AC is better than those. But why we are lagging? Maybe we are not working hard to build our skills. We are involved in so many things in AC, but we sometimes we forget what is the most priority thing. So that's what happened in our time also. But I feel trend is already changing. We are having such sessions now. Well, previously, we did not have anything in our time. So this is a very good job from the Samiran and his team. I think we can conduct more interactive sessions as we go forward. Yeah, if we do, yeah, likewise, then we can definitely improve ourselves and make our AC a brand in the whole nation, not in only Assam. Okay, that is exactly what I wanted to cover. Maybe, yeah, we can take all the questions if you have anything.
Thank you, Juganta Da, for
Yes,
such a
yes,
beautiful presentation. It was very informative, and I note the terms here are very new for most of the students here. But these are
yes,
the basics, and I think that if we can like gather more information on these are the like basic things and very informative and interesting. And
yes.
so also I want to add in our session we also have another alumni. He
Yes,
is passed out from the batch of 2014 and 18. His name is
okay,
Pradipta Sharma Da. He's software developer engineer at Flipkart and a backend system engineer at Flipkart. He previously worked for Upgrade and Razorpay. So I want to request Sharma Da to give a few words on this presentation and on the event since he is present. Dada?
Hey all, good evening. I hope I'm audible. I was actually in the car.
Yes,
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 Dada, you're
audible.
on. Yes.
Sure, thanks. Thanks for the introduction, and I'm really glad to be here. Thanks to Jugandada for such a beautiful presentation, and I believe everybody present here can actually grab this opportunity and ask your any questions that you have and get it clarified so that I mean this is a wonderful opportunity to have somebody like him addressing to you and make the most out of it. I just hope you do that and good luck with that. So yeah, and I feel great to be back to AC with Jugantada, right? So we stayed in the same hostel for a couple of years, and it was amazing to be there. I still remember the first lecture that he gave to me, and having this lecture from him again, it feels totally different, but it feels great. Thank you so much, Jugantada.
No problem. No problem. Yeah.
Thank you, Pradipta Da, for your speech. So, if there are any questions from the audience, you can type it on on the chat box, or you can ask by turning off your mic.
Okay,
So,
there is one question. Yeah.
yes. So there is a question. There is a new MTech program launched in IISc in electronic product design. Can you brief us
Okay.
about the course? Yes.
Okay. Electronic product design. So this is a new MTech program you're saying? I'm not quite aware of the program because yeah, it's been a while. Like yeah, I think I passed out from there in 2018. So it is. Is it a new program that was added after that, or it was already there?
Hida, you can turn off your mic, turn on your mic, and like proceed to the question.
Okay, maybe last year. Okay, Hiday. So thing is that I'm not quite aware of the program. Maybe I can get some more details and we can talk it offline. I will be able to provide you with details. Yeah.
Okay. So do we have any more questions?
Yeah, there was one thing that I wanted to ask, which I think will be relevant for everybody present here. Uh, I mean, being a student in bachelor engineering, what really should somebody prepare on, right? You already mentioned that you need a little bit of programming in C and C++ and stuff, but for the if I want to focus on the preparation for interviews, if you can give a brief on what all things are actually asked in an interview and what is the thing that I need to focus on to make the preparation or even to start off the preparation.
Right. So as I said earlier, so the interviewers will be asking mostly on the basic stuff. So if we are applying for an embedded software profile, they will be asking on digital electronics. They will be asking some C basic data structure problem, maybe or maybe not. And then they will ask mostly about the different architectures, different communication protocols, like we have a course for microprocessor, right? 8086 microprocessor in AEC. So if we mention that we have this background, then they will surely ask on that only about different architecture of the processor or different protocols also. Now they might ask. So some simple like basic protocols we have this AUART, SPI. These things are like very widely used everywhere. So they might ask some more questions on these protocols also.
Okay,
And
so
definitely, and apart from definitely, we'll have to make our CV strong. So that is one important thing. So to do that, we need to take the proper courses also, which is relevant to the profile. Then apart from that, we need to have some like experience in practical knowledge. Like we can do different projects. We can do different projects in circuit design, different SOCs, or different in even using microprocessor or microcontroller. We can do different things. So yeah, those will be those can be helpful when going for an interview.
Thank you, Jugandada.
Yes.
Since you brought up the topic of projects, so I am
Yes.
happy to announce all the students who are the members of Robotics Club and also the students who are added in the WhatsApp group with Jugandada and Pradiptada, that we will be holding sessions on making such projects based on the concept of embedded systems. So we have, since we know that we have the very famous microcontroller, the Arduino, but what we will be doing different with our session is we will not be working with Arduino directly. We will be working with the IC, the microcontroller itself. So we will take the microcontroller out and we will try to program the microcontroller with the pure C, embedded C language, and also using assembly language. So I think
Correct.
if we program it that way, then we will be able to get more contact with the inner working of the microcontroller. Then we will know the registers, and then we can like work everything out with the assembly, debugging it. I was very impressed when Juganda, like you discussed about the problem that you solved using
Right.
about the data bit delay. So
Right.
this is a pure example of the like when you are making a project and you find a problem, then you go to the source and debug the problem. You
Correct.
looked at the oscilloscope and got the problem and made the solution in the program itself. So I
Correct.
think I think these are some of the challenges that we face, that if we face by making various projects in our Robo Club, or personally also, then we will be
Yes.
more equipped with the knowledge that we should do, or the steps that we should take to solve a specific problem. So I was
Yes.
impressed that these knowledges, they can be acquired in engineering colleges itself. And since
Yes.
you were at a very higher level there, and the same mindset was applied, so I think that will be very helpful if we can make all these events possible with you. And
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Yes. We can definitely plan about these events going forward. Yes.
we have more questions coming in. We have a question from Proyas Pravan Sharma Bora. There are any recommendations for courses or internship on embedded and IoT about microprocessors?
Okay. We have already, I think, courses in AEC for microprocessor and microcontroller, which may not be like good enough, but definitely we can have some better courses online also. But yeah, I can go I can research it. I'm not like at this point I cannot suggest you anything on the courses which you need to take, but definitely there are different courses which are available and which can be useful. And similarly for internships, definitely all the companies are looking for interns at all the time. So you will have to, what you need to do, you need to be a little active in different platforms like LinkedIn and all. You can contact different employees there. Even for analog devices, you can contact me. If there is any vacancy for internship, then definitely I can refer you for that.
Thank you, Dada. So now we have one more question from Hiray. So can you guide us with a roadmap for VLSI and electronics? How to get started getting into Vertilog, PHDL, FPGA development, etc. As we have a lot of guidance in IT, but for core electronics and electrical, there is a gap.
Correct. Okay. So this is one difficult question for me because personally, I am not from that field also. I haven't done anything on VLSI uh, uh, or Verilog or even FPGA. So that is what mostly the design guys then do in our company also. Maybe what I can do, I can definitely, we can talk it offline. Maybe I can get some more information on this and we can take it forward, what needs to be done here.
Yes, and Hriday and Prayas, there is a WhatsApp group. So we have Jugandhar also there. So he will
Yes.
be forwarding all the information there.
Yeah.
So are there any further questions?
Hi, Samiran. I just wanted to ask Juganta Da,
Yes.
is it can mechanical students pursue this field? Is it possible?
Okay. Okay. Definitely. The problem will be that you can definitely pursue if you are interested. But the thing is that what I have seen for most of the companies, they have this requirement. People should be from electrical or EC or computer science. That's what I have seen in most of the cases. But you need to explore. Like if you are interested, then definitely there will be some way to pursue this.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Changa, for the question.
Yeah.
If we are there any more questions? Okay, so if there are no more questions, I would like to give everyone present here a brief introduction of the topics that we will be covering on our coming events. Actually, we have a array of events which will be targeted on the embedded system development. So in our events, we will be targeting the AVR microcontroller. So what I want the students of AEC to know is the basics of programming and also about the programming the microcontroller itself. I have seen very few people, like all the people are interested in Arduino and ready-made boards, but what I have seen, very few people know how to program the microcontroller like without any development boards. So I want to target that itself. So in this course, we will in the coming events, what we will cover are some of the topics like communication topics. For example, we will be covering I2C protocols, the US ARD protocols, and the USRD protocols. These are some of the communications like protocols that also Jugandhar also discussed in a very basic term. So the codes that will be used are actually similar to the 8086 and 8085 processors, which we will study on our further semesters. And so what I know, like one all the students to know is that whenever you are making a project, or even I make a project, and if we know something, suppose, but like if we know something and we do something and we know exactly what is going on under the hood, so that is where the real pleasure comes from. Okay, So that is what I wanted everyone to know. So these coming events will be very interesting, and I hope everybody would join them. And these will be open for everyone. Okay, even the members and the students who have showed interest in this event, and so it will be open for them. And I hope everyone joins. And it will also cover basics of electronics, the digital or the analog. And I also wanted to share one more point. So if you look at different people from electrical background or electronics background, or the one who wrote great books on engineering or electronics projects, so most of them were not in electronics background. Some came from chemistry background, maybe some came from mechanical background. But electronics and electrical is such a subject which you can play around. Okay, so I think so. Keeping that in mind, I think if you look at the subject and if you find that it is very interesting, so then we can inculcate all the different branches, and like we can come together and we can make great projects. I wanted to prove that point just. So Jugandar da, if like
Yes.
so, I think we can end the session here if there are no more questions.
Yes. Okay. Okay. There is one question that MTech
Okay,
degree
then.
holder preferred or BTech in companies.
There
There is
are-
no, yeah, there is no rule like MTech degree or BTech degree are preferred. The thing is that what is more like which like more important to us. So if we get into a job after BTech, so we'll save extra 2 or 3 years, right? We'll so that way we'll have like more earnings. So even though starting salary may not be as high as the MTech guys, but in 2 or 3 years you will again after increment you will again like earn more than the even masters guy. So that's what is is happening. So you need to prioritize what is important for you, an extra degree or you need to get a job now itself.
Okay. Any more questions? So with this, we come to the end of our session. I want to thank Jugandar again for such a beautiful presentation. The presentation will be shared with you guys. And if there are any more questions regarding the different topics that he has covered, you can ask us in our WhatsApp group. And you can also contact Jugandar personally if you have any more questions or you want to know more about the internships and about
Yes.
the company itself and the work that is done, or you can ask him about his work. So if any
Yes.
more things, then you can ask. Yeah, that is it.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. Thank you, Jugandar. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks everyone.
So everyone can leave.